要没见着，你可以说哦，那是假的。
Like now, some country has a president. If you never seen the president, you can say, oh, that's fake.
就有你也可以说是假的，啊，那么没有你也可以说是真的，没有什么一定的定义。
Even if there is a president, you can still say it's fake. If there is none, you can also say it's real. No definition is for certain.
所以这位法师本来他愚痴来着，他又聪明了。你说有什么一定的是不是？都是。
So this Dharma master, originally he was stupid, but later he was smart. You see what is for certain, right?
都是那个人，以前信外道就愚痴。
It was the same person. In the past, he believed in externalist practices and was stupid.
以后信佛就聪明了，所以这没有什么一定的。
Later on, he believed in the Buddha and became smart, so nothing is for certain.
我们这位法师是从家里跑出来，从外道家里跑出来，去出家做和尚。
So the Dharma master ran away from home. He ran out of the externalist's home, left the home life, and became a monk.
Okay, let's backtrack. I think he's changing the message. I was trying to figure out where he's going, insulting an archaeologist. He doesn't think much of them, basically. And I think it has to do with the fact that a lot of these people, especially scholars, think that the Shrangama Sutra is fake. They couldn't find any historical evidence of the existence of Shrangama Sutra, so many of the scholars, many of the professors are of the opinion that it's absolutely fake. And that really roused up Master Shenhua and said, no, you are fake. Okay? And so I think this is his soft spot. Because I know he's not this kind of person accusing people of this, accusing people of that, and thinking that such a profession is useless. It's not up to him to decide what's useless and what's not useless. It's up to society to decide, okay, to make that decision. Because if someone is useless, we get rid of them. Society will get rid of them. Have no use for them. Okay, and so I was surprised that he actually was insulting. He ate their fill, had nothing to do, so they work on meaningless things, meaningless to Master Shenhua, but not to them. To a lot of people, as long as get paid, it's not meaningless. Let me tell you, it's best not to have archaeologists. They take up more food, they eat more food, they consume more food, but don't do anything. They're totally useless. The more they investigate, particular the Shrangama Sutra or Buddhist things, the more they think it's fake. Same thing, our relics, as soon as we got them, a lot of people thought it was fake. Okay? And after all these years, it's no longer, most people believe it's for real. There any real thing or anything real or fake in this world? If the thing is fake, then it's fake. If the thing is real, it's real. So you could apply the same argument. He thinks archaeologists are fakes, and they are fake. But some other people feel they're real, therefore they're real. Okay? So you can argue it back and forth, if you like. There's no point in criticizing others. Country president, he says the president is fake. I can think of one who's fake, but it's just my opinion. He's there only to make money and stuff his pocket, so totally useless. But then it's just my opinion, okay? He doesn't like archaeologists. I don't like one president. No, again, nothing is for sure. Nothing is absolute. Okay? I can't wait till Friday to see the tax returns. You guys don't know? Congress will release the tax returns, his tax returns. And you know it's going to be a lot of crap that he claimed. He's going to prove that he's full of crap. Yeah. But he can't help himself. This is what's funny about it. He said a lot of things that because his ghost is pulling his strings, he didn't even know that. Originally he was stupid, later became smart. Finally he came back to the topic in question. So this master here was stupid and he became smart. I'm a little bit I'm not sure about his definition of stupid and smart here. If this Gunabhadra was stupid, he cannot become smart. He had to be originally smart, and his smarts had to be covered up. That's why he's stupid temporarily. Okay? So you see, same person who believed in externalist practices, he was stupid. Again, there's no need to look down and say negative things about externalist practices. They do what they do. They believe what they believe because of their conditions. That's how we are. So, for example, the Catholics, they figure it out. They're smart. So what they do in order to sustain themselves, they start very young. And the churches have child care section. They have elementary schools. They have all sorts of schools from 0 to K-12. And that's how these kids would go to the schools and learn to sing hymns to God and praise the Lord and so forth. And that's how a lot of them stayed with their religion. Okay, so my point being that people need to get used. They stick with what's known, what's familiar to them. Okay, we need to probably do the similar kind of things if we have the resources. The externalists is the same thing. Before Buddhism came around, the externalist practices were the best there was. So, but this gives the impression that people who practice externalist things are stupid. It's not the case at all. They didn't believe the Buddha and became smart, so nothing is for certain. Okay, are we there yet? And he ran away from home and became a monk. Okay, there you go.
这位法师在印度到各处弘扬这个禅宗的道理。
This Dharma master propagated the Chan school principles everywhere in India.
在印度弘扬佛法很多年，而且打了一个王旗。
He propagated the Buddha Dharma for many years in India and had a false thought.
这是中国大乘根性已经都成熟了，我应该到中国去教化。可是啊，
He said, in China, the Mahayana roots are all mature. I should go to China to teach and transform living beings.
Okay, so he's propagating a Chan school throughout India. So he traveled a lot, met a lot of people, most likely a lot of royalties and scholars and officials and people in the know as well as low-level people. He taught them Chan. And after doing that for years, he decided to go to China because he felt that the Chinese have Mahayana roots. Yes, in the back.
Master, why does Master YongHua says he had a false thought?
Because it probably was a false thought. That's Master Shenhua's way of saying that he's actually was using his thinking mind. If you use the reason that in a China world we call it false thought is because it arose from your thinking mind. So when you're at work and you're working, you're false thinking, in other words. Okay, so the Chan practice is that you learn to stop using your thinking mind. And when you're able to do that, then you actually are using your true mind. Then using your true mind, your production, your creativity, your power of your true nature thinking will come to the fore. You'll be able to solve problems that others, worldly, ordinary people cannot. Okay, so that's why in Buddhism, in a Chan school, we call it false thought, because it's not your best. So apparently for this Guna Bhadra here, he was meditating. This is probably what happened. He was meditating, and then a thought arose in his mind. He said, seems like it's probably because he realized after teaching a lot of the Indian people, he says, I'm not getting very far with these people. So he says, and being a Tripitaka master, he's very knowledgeable. He takes his knowledge very seriously. He wanted to convey that, teach and train the next generation. So maybe he wasn't happy, and he said, well, and that thought arose. Finally, he says, actually in China, people have Mahayana roots, and they are maturing. Therefore, maybe it's more fertile grounds in China than in India. Yes?
So does it mean that it's not true? That he was just false thinking about it?
If you use the untrue mind to produce thoughts, they're called, the production the result is that you are producing false thoughts. Yes? Okay. That's all it means. Meaning that if you're using your true mind, it's called true thoughts or just thoughts. You don't need to qualify with a false thought, with the word false. So it simply means here, if you hear the word false thought, it means that he was meditating, and instead of not using a thinking mind, his thinking mind popped up. That becomes a false thought. Whatever thought is produced from your thinking, the thinking mind you're used to right now, is called a false thought. It's most obvious when you meditate. And so he was teaching Chan, the Indian Chan, and wasn't going very well, I guess, meaning that ultimately his students, his disciples, didn't really appreciate it. That's why he said, I have better things to do with my life. It's not going very well. My students are not doing well. They really don't need me. That's the bottom line in my mind. Because if he had great students, how could he possibly abandon them? The work is not done. And so I'm surprised. It's a similar story with Master YongHua. He was teaching everywhere. He was taught in China, he taught in Hong Kong. He went to Australia, trying to teach the Australians for about a year or two, and about a year or so, and even got some support as a professor at some sort of university. And after a year, he went back to China, Hong Kong, somewhere. And he says, not working in Australia. Okay, no affinities with the Australians. So he was successful teaching in China, but apparently he decided that in the United States, people had higher potential. That's why he decided to go to the United States to propagate Mahayana. So this Gunabhadra here, he decided to go to China, and if you look at people, you look at the Indian people, and you teach them Chan. Chan is transformative, meaning that a stupid person can become smart, like himself. Meaning that someone with Hinayana roots can maturate the Mahayana roots. So unless the Indians supporters were in front of him and were in support of his work, then it would make sense for him to go to China. So we don't know. We don't know what the situations were. I don't feel that just the roots alone. It's because I think he was not appreciated in India, primarily. Okay? Okay, continue.
他知道到中国教化众生是一件最难的事情。第一点，言语不通。
But he knew to go to China to teach and transform living beings is the most difficult task. Firstly, he didn't speak the language.
Same situation with Master YongHua when he came here. Yes, continue.
"第二点，路程遥远，非常的远。于是乎他就想了一个不费力的方法，怎么样呢？因为这个。
Secondly, it is a very long journey, very long. So he came up with an effortless method. What was that? He said,
到中国去要跑路啊，这万路跋涉，这太辛苦。我不是坐船好。
to go to China on foot is tens of thousands of miles of walk. That's too toilsome. I should just go by sea.
在船上天天可以不跑路，慢慢就可以到中国，没有那么辛苦。
On the boat, every day, I don't need to walk slowly. I will reach China, and it's not that toilsome.
他想这么个方法，你说是不是聪明啊？要不聪明，你看他应该他跑路啊，他就不跑路了。
He thought about this method. Wasn't he smart? If he was not smart, he should have walked, but he didn't walk.
因为他聪明，坐船，你说坐船，但是也不一定就会到中国。
Because he was smart, he took the boat. He took the boat, but there was no guarantee that he would reach China.
可是他呢，坐这个船上，走到一个海的中间，这个船就停在一个。
He rowed a boat and arrived in the middle of the sea. The boat stuck on an island.
本来是海，但是船走到这个地方呢，这个水就都降下去了，把这个船呢就放到这个海里边一个岛。
Originally, there was sea, but when the boat arrived at this location, the water level went down and left the boat on this island in the sea.
这个岛是在海里边的，不是在海外边。但是这个他船正走到这个海里头这个山上呢，这个水就都降下去了。
This island was in the sea, not outside of the sea. As the boat was traveling through the mountains in the sea, the water level went down.
四外都没有水了，海水都没有了，就是这个船在一个干地上。
There was no water around. All the sea water went away. Now this boat was on dry land.
啊，你说这么船很大的人也抬不动，也没有法子把它再搬到海里头去。
The boat was very large and can't be lifted by people. There was no way of moving it, no way of moving it back to the sea.
这些个人呢，都认为在这个地方一定会死了，也不四通八达。那
Everybody thought they would die there. At that time, roads didn't lead to all directions.
那个时候不是像现在那船那么多，那是船也很少。
There weren't many boats like nowadays. At that time, there were very few boats.
他想这个方法，你说，就遇到这么一个魔障，这个船不走了，这他怎么样也想不到有这种的困难。
Master Guna came up with this method, but encountered this demonic obstruction. The boat stuck. He couldn't have ever imagined such difficulty.
这位法师啊，聪明就是聪明，他也不着急，也不慌。他说：“我们现在真。”
But the Dharma master was indeed smart. He wasn't worried and didn't panic. He said,
我叫你们在我们这船上的人呢，咱们大家都念十方佛，念南无观世音菩萨。
Now I will teach everybody on the boat. We shall all recite Buddhas of the 10 directions. Recite Namo Guanxin Bodhisattva.
我们归命十方三宝，归命南无大悲观世音菩萨。
We shall all take refuge in triple jewels of the 10 directions. Take refuge in Namo Guanxin Bodhisattva.
来，大家念观音菩萨，念十方佛。
Come on, let's recite Guanyin Bodhisattva, recite Buddhas of the 10 directions.
于是乎，大家都合起掌来，南无常住十方佛。
Thus, everybody put their palms together. Namo internally abiding Buddhas of the 10 directions. Namo internally abiding Dharma of the 10 directions. Namo internally abiding Sangha of the 10 directions.
南无大悲观世音菩萨，都念这个念。
Namo Great Compassionate Guanxin Bodhisattva. As they were reciting, and reciting.
观音菩萨在那坐着，他也就坐不住，是想我得要去救这一班人去了。
Guanyin Bodhisattva was sitting there, but probably couldn't sit any longer. She said, "Oh, I need to go and save those people."
观音菩萨，有雨下，这一下雨，把这个海里的水又都涨起来，又涨起来，把
Guanyin Bodhisattva then made it rain. Once it rained, the water level rose again.
这 这个船就飘的走了，飘走了还不算，顺风不知不觉的就把它刮到中国来了，刮到中国。
So the boat floated and drifted away. Not only did it drift away, the downwind imperceptibly blew the boat to China, blowed it to China.
所以呀，说这位法师还是很聪明，在那种困难的环境之下，他也不慌张，也不着急，还。
So this Dharma master was very smart. Under such difficult circumstances, he didn't panic and was not worried.
Okay, so he went by boat. He figured that he would go by boat, and it's easier. Even though at the time it's a new concept to travel by boat, there weren't a lot of boat travel back then. And apparently the captain was not very good, so he got stranded. And they didn't know what to do. And she recited Wanyin Bodhisattva. He asked for her help. This is a story that we keep on hearing time and time again. Please keep that in mind. That when you are in trouble, you are in dire straits, there's one person you should be calling, reaching out to, is Wanyin Bodhisattva. All you have to do is, if you cannot help yourself, you keep reciting Wanyin Bodhisattva's name, and she will come to your rescue. It happened to so many people. So my late father used to do that as well. He became a monk and learned about this. Every time he had something, a little bit of trouble, he called Wanyin and it got solved. Time and time again, until the big problems came, he called Wanyin and said, not today, son, I'm too tired. Okay, remember, this Dharma door here is for emergencies. Please do not bother Wanyin Bodhisattva. Okay, don't tell me, Master YongHua told me to call you when I'm in trouble. No, only when you're in dire straits, okay? When you're in desperate times, please remember. Why is it the case? This is what happened, that my late father didn't still figure it out yet. When you're desperate, that's when, and you call to Wanyin Bodhisattva, the chance of it working is much far greater when you're not desperate. This is why I work for so many people in dire straits. When you're just like, you greedy and you say, I want to win Super Lotto, you know. Wanyin, please, I really want to get rich. And when I get rich, I will help Master YongHua's temple. And one says, yeah, right. I know you better than that. Okay, so it doesn't work. The Wanyin door doesn't work unless you're desperate. What Master Shua put it is that you need to be sincere. It's correct. When you're sincere, you call Wanyin's name, she will hear you. When you're not sincere, you're simply there to take advantage of her compassion, her kindness. She'll, occasionally indulge you, but don't be surprised if she gets fed up with you eventually. Okay? So a Dharma brother of mine did that too. He called Wanyin and worked for a while and said, but stop working. You know what he did next? Then he called Earth-Star Bodhisattva. These Buddhists are very smart. They keep on rotating them. But when you do that, you don't understand the Dharma. The Dharma is that when you are desperate and you have nowhere else to turn, that's when you can be sincere easily. Sincere meaning single-minded. Okay? And that's the teaching. You become single-minded, say one yin. And one yin will hear you immediately. But if you're not concentrated and you're not single-minded, call one yin, she probably, I can't hear you. Okay? So anyway, that's the teaching. Please remember that. And in particular, when you have the younger generation, and we're very helpful that you parents, you adults, should spend time with them and teach them to recite Wan Yin's name, okay? And teach them that when they're a little bit older, teach them that it's someone you can return to. Because at some point in our lives, we feel desperate. We have no one else to turn to. Catholic Daniel turns to his God, okay? We return to Wan Yin Bodhisattva, okay? It worked quite well for us Buddhists. All right, keep that in mind. And I think it's very important to teach our children that. All right, continue, please.
还是一样的，相信十方佛，果然十方佛呢，就把它送到中国，送到中国来。
He still believed in Buddhas of the 10 directions as usual. Sure enough, Buddhas of the 10 directions sent him to China. During Liu Song dynasty, there was a prime minister. The prime minister believed in Buddhism and was extremely nice to Dharma Master Guna.
有一次，就想要请他讲华严经。
Once, he wanted to invite Dharma Master Guna to lecture the Avatamsaka Sutra.
因为这个法师啊，他出家的时候啊，在印度有这么一个规矩，有这么一个这么一种仪式，需要。
Because when this Dharma master left the home life, there was a rule, a ritual in India.
出家了呢，需要抽一条签，在这个签上写的是经的名字。
Whoever leaves the home life was asked to draw a stick. On the stick wrote sutra names.
你抽到哪一部经的名字，你就学哪一部经。
Whichever name of the sutra you draw, you will study that sutra.
那么这位法师出家的时候，一抽就抽到这个华严经了，所以他师父说。
When this Dharma master left the home life, he drew the Avatamsaka Sutra, so his master said,
你对这大乘佛法太有缘了，所以你应该学华严经。应该学华严经。
You have so much affinity with Mahayana Buddhism. You should study Avatamsaka Sutra. You should study the Avatamsaka Sutra.
他就教习讲华严经，念华严经。
So he learned to lecture the Avatamsaka Sutra. He read the Avatamsaka Sutra.
其实可以给讲华严经的道理。
He contemplated the Avatamsaka Sutra principles all the time.
所以到中国，这位丞相呢，就要请他讲华严经。
So when he arrived in China, the prime minister invited him to teach the Avatamsaka Sutra.
他呢，普通讲话可以，讲几句中国话，好像这个早安啦，晚安啦。
He could manage some conversations. He could speak some Chinese, such as good morning and good night.
Okay, let's comment. What are your thoughts about the Indian tradition of drawing a stick with the sutra names and then studying that sutra, specializing in that sutra? What do you think? It's the first time I heard of it, so I'm curious. I need time to process it, okay? Let me think about it. False think about it. Huh? What do you think? What's your reaction to this? Kind of interesting, huh? That you decide your career as a monk on a stick. Have you thought about it? The Indians didn't think about it? You draw a stick and they say, I'm going to spend my life studying the sutra. Yes.
It seems like it was saying that it was meant for him to study Avatamsaka Sutra.
I'm not worried about him. I'm worried of the other monks and nuns. He's no ordinary person, clearly. But I'm worried about the rest of the monks and nuns who do not have his blessings, his capabilities, his smarts. You know? Are they supposed to follow blindly and study one sutra?
So it seems like it's trying to tell you this method would give you the whatever, you will get whatever was meant for you to study.
Yes, apparently. But think about it. Your entire career is predicated upon one gesture, one draw. Yes, sir. Number one.
Does it really matter? Does it really matter which sutra you study?
Yes, sir. It does. Master YongHua taught us, for our generation, we can choose from 3 sutras, the big ones, Shrangma Sutra, Lotus Sutra, or Avatamsaka Sutra. He says those are the very good sutras you could learn from. Okay? You can choose any of the 3. You can do whatever you want to do right now. Eventually, you should specialize in a sutra, but do not neglect those 3 sutras, because those 3 sutras contain all the Mahayana principles, which is important because it has to be transmitted to our generation. So the sutras do matter. Okay, they're different because each sutra has its own power as a sutra. Each sutra captures the power or the magic of the Buddha's teaching, a particular kind of teaching, because that is really, really important to study the right kind of sutras. Absolutely. Okay? Anyone else? Yes, 6.
It seems that they don't have good non-advisors to follow.
Very good. Basically, they have to be they're on their own. The system, apparently, his master says you pick a stick and then you study that sutra. And what did he do? He contemplated the principles of sutra constantly. And to me, there's a problem there. Why? Why is there a problem? And this is, you should not confuse hard work and vigor with cultivation. Yes, we're supposed to practice vigorously, but you're supposed to practice smart. Not like that. You do it like that, it's not good for you. Go ahead, JMT.
안녕하세요, 마스터.
Hello there. In America, we have this tradition. Now we say, Happy New Year. Have you been partying?
Yes, master.
Of course, I know it. Yeah. Only going to a party can take you away from going to the temple. Sorry, go ahead.
안 그래도 마스터지께서도 물어보셨는데, 제가 크리스마스를 지난 2년간은 보산사에서 이렇게 보냈고, 또 작년 크리스마스는 마스터랑 보냈고, 남편하고 크리스마스를 3년 만에 보냈습니다.
Oh, it's Master Z also asked me. First 2 years, I spent my time during Christmas at JMT, and then next 1 year, I spent time with Master. Finally, after 3 years, I get to spend Christmas with my husband.
It's the middle way.
그러니까 남편이 희생을 많이 해줬고, 이제 물론 마스터지 말씀대로 제가 절에서 마스터의 도량에서 크리스마스를 보낸 건 굉장히 복이 많았다고 생각을 합니다.
I understand my husband sacrificed a lot, and Master Z mentioned that being able to spend time at the temple during the Christmas means that I have a lot of blessings.
네, 오늘의 코멘트는 저도 안 그래도 뽑기로 경전을 결정한다는 게 솔직히 첫 마음이 황당했거든요. 근데 또 한편 생각하면 어리석은 자기 계산으로 이렇게 이게 나한테 좋겠다, 이렇게 저렇게 좋겠다, 이런 어리석은 자기 계산으로 진로를 결정하는 것 역시 위험한 일이니까 차라리 어리석은 계산으로 결정을 하느니 뽑기가 더 안전할까? 라는 생각을 했는데 마침 마스터께서 의견을 물어보셨습니다.
So, Master, you asked about drawing stick, and that will determine the career of a monk or nun. So, my comment is, at first, I said, oh, it's a surprise. How could they just draw a stick and that will determine their career? What if, wouldn't it be better? But then I thought about if an ignorant person tried to decide which sutra they're going to study, maybe it's better than that. Just drawing stick is better than just being ignorant and try to decide their career for the future.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes. There's plus and minuses, of course. I'm just curious as to your reaction, that's all. This is like a long time ago in India, so the customs are different. We're different. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. How do you feel about this? Because it matters to us. If it's a good thing, we should imitate them. We should adopt such practices. It's not a good thing, we should chuckle and say, what a joke. Yes, too.
Thought. No decision making.
No decision making.
No thinking, no thought involved.
Okay. doesn't quite work like that. What you learn with so far is that you are not investing enough in your seeds of wisdom. Meaning that unless you plant those seeds of wisdom, even you get the higher level of samadhis, your wisdom will be limited. So that's why the sutra studies are very important. The better sutras will give you a better seeds of wisdom. This is what many Buddhist disciples don't realize, that the reason that the Mahayana people have higher level wisdom is because they've been taught and they learn about Mahayana sutras. And it makes a huge difference from where I sit, because I met so many people, different levels, and Hinayana, Mahayana, non-Buddhist, and so forth. I talked today at lunch about the various religions. Some of the religions, I look at it and the kinds of scriptures they use, and it's the difference right there. Difference is that if you indoctrinate yourself with the wrong kinds of scriptures, your mind becomes narrow. And in particular, these people have developed such a strong faith, so they don't look outside anymore. It's very dangerous. So that's why sutras matter. They're very important. Yes, 6.
Emitofuo Master, as we grew up in the Vietnamese community, I noticed that especially in the New Year's, many of the Vietnamese, they came to the temple and then they prayed to Kuan Yin or Buddha before they pull out a stick to wish for what happened in the new year. And generally, those tradition has been transferred to Vietnam. I guess it's originally come from China. So I guess that those monks who before they pull a stick, they may pray to Kuan Yin before doing that. And in my case, I tried it once, and actually it works. It works very well when you are in dire straits and you don't know what to do, and then you pray to Kuan Yin, and then you pull a stick or you do something, and she does tell you what the future is, and it turned out really, really exactly like it is. So
that's how you found your wife.
No. That's how I.
It wasn't your wife?
No, it wasn't. It was about my son and.
Your son?
Yeah.
That has to be your wife then.
I asked Venerable Xin Shi, and then he said, you pray to Kuan Yin, and then you pull the stick, and you do the way I asked you to do, and give me the number, and then I will tell you what it is. And then I follow his instruction, and then reality is it turned out exactly like he told me to. So I think.
See, you like the draw thing.
But you have to pray very sincerely before you do that. I think it may help because you have no other choice.
Okay, good to know. See, another confirmation. When you're desperate, don't forget about Kuan Yin. Okay, that's confirmation right there. Yes, JC.
네, 안녕하세요. 처음에 뽑기 얘기 들었을 때 저는 경전이 다 부처님 말씀이라서 다 하나로 통하기 때문에 분별하지 않는 것을 가르치려고 그렇게 하나 싶었는데요. 네, 계속. 네.
So first, when I heard that about drawing this stick, So, and determine which sutra they will start to study. So my first thought was, oh, this is related to no discrimination, because all the sutras are Buddha's words. So must be because no discrimination, so they will draw sticks.
그런데 마스터 이야기를 들으니까 좀 더 현명한 선택이 있을 수 있다는 것을 알게 되었는데요. 그래서 지금 제가 생각하는 것은 마스터가 지난 본문에서도 저희가 1학년 단위로 계속 수행을 해야 된다고 하셨잖아요. 그래서 혹시 이렇게 많은 시간을 계속 수행을 하기 때문에 어떤 경전을 지금 하든 결국은 다 만나게 되는 것이라서 그렇지 않나 이런 생각을 했습니다. 네, 1억 년 단위로, 그러니까 1억 년 단위로 계속 저희가 수행을 해 보살이 돼도 계속 그렇게 그 말씀을 하셨던 게 생각나서 그렇죠. 그래서 경전을 뭘 하든 결국은 다 그런 좋은 경전들을 만나게 될 거기 때문에 지금 어떤 경전을 공부하는지 별로 상관이 없나 이런 생각이 들었어요. 감사합니다.
So after I hear your explanation, then my next thought was what you just said about during the Dharma talk. We have to study more than 1,000,000 years to go to one level to another level. And then, so if the cultivation time is that long, it really doesn't matter which sutra we will meet. Eventually, we will meet all the sutra. Maybe that's why it doesn't matter.
What if you keep on reading the same sutra? You have too much faith. It's not good. We Americans are not like that. We are skeptical. What if I keep on drawing the same sutra for 200 million years? What's going to happen to me? Be prepared for that, because eventually many of you will be all over the world. You'll be in Europe, you'll be, in, not Russia. Okay. You'll be all over, and do prepare. Keep an open mind, because the different cultures, they think differently. Okay? We learn about Indian culture here. Apparently this tradition was not transmitted to China. Okay. Thank God. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Probably did not originate from Vietnam. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to sound it out and sort of gauge your interest and your thinking, what you've learned so far. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Hi, Master. It's Sister Victorina.
Hi, sister.
Nice to see you, Master.
Yes.
So.
Thank you. Ditto. Praise the Lord.
Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. So, let's say a monk pulls that straw when they're 20, and then, they only study this sutra. And then by the time they're 40, maybe they would have matured or be interested in learning more things. And I can imagine that you can study a sutra many, many times, hundreds of times, and find more information. But, if you don't have a good knowing advisor, you're really kind of stuck.
But you contemplate. Here. I have the exact English quote. Okay, so he learned the lecture Avatamsaka Sutra. He contemplate. Okay, he constantly contemplate this Xiang, the Avatamsaka Sutra.
Well,
He's
this
mindful
particular monk is very unusual, as you said. But if it's a regular, ordinary maybe not the same level person, if he doesn't have the guidance of his good knowing advisor, how could he break out of just going around, around and round and never rising above?
Aha. See, this is how the Americans are much more experienced in this sense. Okay? That process itself has constraints, has limitations. See, you all bring up those limitations. But the one thing you didn't bring up, yes, Way Mountain Temple.
Master, I just think of an example in Sixth Patriarch Sutra. There was one particular venerable reading Dharma Flower Sutra for 1,000 times over and over again, and he's still not enlightened. So I think the best important way to think of it is if you have a good knowing advisor, it would save a lot of time instead of going over and over again in one particular sutra and get nowhere.
Excellent. Okay? If the process of contemplation works like this, let me explain to you. Your contemplation is based on your thinking mind. Okay? You think about it. You think about it. You think about it. Okay? And then in itself has limitations. So if you depend on your own power, your own contemplative power to understand a sutra, that's the big problem. Okay, it's a huge issue. Then there's no need for you to go to universities to learn because you can simply stay home and pick up a book and contemplate the book. Yes? Nowadays, Google hires people without any degrees and so forth. They encourage it, okay? Because they feel that, people are still productive. But the point here is that we're not talking about just coding. We're not talking about producing that kind of level of work. We're talking about very profound principles here. We're talking about wisdom. And the Chan principle is this. If you are at level Samadhi X, when you contemplate, you only get to the wisdom of level X. You cannot get higher. It doesn't work like that. Okay? This is all you're capable of. Think of you will, the Samadhi here is the ability to drill through. That's all you can see. Drill through a wall, drill through the rock. That's as far as you can get. That's it. You cannot go beyond it. That's a limitation. Your own limitations. Yes, 6.
Emitofuo, Master. It a little bit surprised to me that he specialized in explaining Avatamsaka Sutra and try to propagate Mahayana. But in the Avatamsaka Sutra, chapter 39, that the recommendation from the one to Shili Bodhisattva that you told the young guy that you should looking for the good known advice, but he didn't spend any time to look for good known advice before he did that.
What's the name of that Bodhisattva again? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening anymore.
The Vangtu Sili. Yeah, Vangtu Sili. I forgot
Vangtu Sili.
Yeah.
Okay, Vangtu Sili. You got that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, one more time.
One, two, silly Bodhisattva.
Vangtosili Bodhisattva. Okay. Look it up, Google it.
Yeah, I suddenly forgot his English name. Manjushri. Oh, yeah, Manjushri Bodhisattva was.
So Vietnamese. I cannot, I don't get it. Yeah. Okay, so good point. Another good quote. So yes, 4.
Thank you, Master. From what I saw there, it say that he contemplate the Avatar Sutra principle all the time, and as you always teach us that, well, you have been teaching us that contemplate is we keep on thinking about. We need to do something about practice, and go out there and care and loving and help others, and that is part of the teaching that we should do instead of just contemplate about it, do something about it. That's what I'm thinking that will help.
Yes, but you misunderstand this section.
Yes.
I'm not sure that he says the 道想着 道理. So he was keep on thinking about. It's actually not even contemplation. He's thinking about the principles of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Contemplation would be next level up. So he's only thinking of the principles, more or less, replaying the tape, if you will, over and over and over again. He's not even contemplating. Okay, he was thinking. The proper translation is he was constantly. Or he was thinking of the principles of those principles all the time. It's not contemplation, okay? But because his skill level, because he has samadhi power, then when he does that, it's contemplation. So it's correct in the end, okay? So that is to do something about it. It's different. This is a special case. Okay. What you were referring to is that in order for you to contemplate successfully, to do this successfully, you need blessings. So in order to create blessing, go out and do something to create merit and virtue. Not just to create merit and virtue, for you to be able to penetrate the Avatamsaka Sutra, you need great merits and virtue. Not just simple merit and virtue. You need great blessing. That's why I keep on emphasizing for you, 利大功德, establish, create great merit and virtue, great blessings. Okay? That's what I was referring to. But he's fine. When, for what he was doing something. He was traveling throughout India, teaching and so forth. You know, so he's creating merit and virtue, okay, himself. But here's a problem. The problem is fundamentally that I am afraid that the way he goes about doing this, he would end up with a shallow level understanding of the principles of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay? And that's probably what happened to him. In contrast, what are we doing? We are not contemplating the principles of Avatamsaka Sutra, are we? What do? We listen to someone who contemplated the principles. Does it make sense? See, what he was doing is depending on his own power. He says, I will contemplate, I will understand it. Okay, but his level is here. Master Srinivas' level is up here. So when he explained the Avatamsaka Sutra, the principle he explained is at this level. So that's what we're getting. We're getting a higher level of wisdom. And this is to me our approach, because again I'm open to learning new tricks. Okay, to me his method, the Indian method at his time, is not that good, because it's not efficient. You can contemplate all you want, but you'll be limited for 200 million years at one level. All right? So, in contrast, what we do in a Chinese system is we listen to our good known advisors. Interpretation, or understanding, or insights. And therefore, our seats are far better than listening to Gunabhata. Agree or disagree? When we listen, we're planting seeds in our consciousness. Would you rather listen to him or to Master YongHua? Tuan, don't touch your nose. Okay, got that? So that's the first thing. What's another issue? I'm having a yes in the back. You're holding up your microphone. Okay. Another thing here that I learned from the system here, education here, is I find it to be interesting. And I thought about it. It is applicable to Buddhism as well. Here, when our kids need to decide which universities to go to, they apply to the schools, right? They apply to the schools that they feel they can get into, or they like to go. You know, at least one they like to go, and the ones that they feel they can get into. Okay. And I talked to a kid from Berkeley, a young man from Berkeley. He got accepted into Georgia Tech and Berkeley, and Berkeley, Georgia Tech, and MIT, and so forth. Okay, for engineering program, PhD program, and he decided I'm not going to go to MIT. I'm going to go to Georgia Tech because Georgia Tech has the kind of program I can get into right away. They guarantee me a spot in that particular field. Whereas if I go to MIT, I have to spend the first maybe year or two to prove myself I'm worthy, then I can apply to join that group. Since I'm intent upon going to this field, I'm going to go to Georgia Tech. And the mom, who is a professor, was so upset. And she called and said, what do I do now? Where did he go, by the way? Did you know? What did he choose? So he deferred 1 year. And I was wondering, would you do the same? To me, personally, okay, my interest is learn from the best minds. If a genius wants to bring me in and teach me, I'd rather go to that person. Because that guy, with his problem-solving skills, would be far better than the others. You want to learn from that person how to solve problems, his problems. I don't know how you feel about it. I would go look for the best teacher, the best place, the best environment, not because people like me or, or treat me well. I'd rather go to a place where they abuse me and say, "You're too stupid. Prove yourself. Now I'll teach you." To be able to have a glimpse of those superior people would be priceless. To me. Similarly, in same vein, the way the Indians taught their own kind here is not as good as the Chinese. The Chinese, what we learn? Good no advisor. Find a good one. Go learn. And then, if he has, just like the Buddha, when you learn everything with this guy, you have nothing else, okay? Move on. The Chinese system is ruthless. Okay, we move on to the next guy. And move on, and move on, and move on. Okay, so I'm not impressed by names, just because this guy specialized in Avatamsaka Sutra and so forth. It's so wrong, because a lot of monks and nuns now lectured on a lot of sutras, and what they do is they amalgamate, they synthesize the various explanations together, and they think they're expert in the field. But again, the same problem. When you contemplate all these things you're learning, you only understand this much. Same problem, same issue. Why don't you listen to the best possible? Because you're getting the seeds of this kind of quality. And I think it's important for us to emphasize this. It's not for everyone, but I feel that we need to encourage people to go learn from the best and move on to the next better one, next better one, next better one. So we all have to be honest ourselves. We cannot claim to be the best. That's what happened in Avatamsaka Sutra. He came the first teacher, good wealth, and he learned, and he got to the same level and said, "Okay, I'm done here with you. Where do you think I should go next?" He said, "Okay, yeah, the next one up is that." You know what that means? You know what that means? It means that this guy at the first ground Bodhisattva, he's really not a first ground Bodhisattva. Because otherwise he will not be able to recognize a higher level than him. Don't believe all these stories. The Buddhist scripture is not, it's not the way it seems. I'm trying to tell you. All the Chinese, they say, you go, and the first teacher, and then taught everything the first teacher, and then you move on. But what's also, he says that this teacher here says, "I'm not as good as teacher as the next one. Okay, this one is better for you than me. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean I cannot teach you. I just feel this guy is better than me for you." This guy, the first ground Bodhisattva, recognizes the second ground Bodhisattva, meaning at the same level at least. You see that? And the same thing again. This second ground Bodhisattva, after 300 million years, he says, "I'm done with you here. Okay, what do I do next?" He says, "Go to this guy." The Chinese never explain it to themselves, to their own kinds. Okay? All right. Any other questions and comments? JC.
네, 입장 안소민님 질문입니다. 특별한 바람이 없이 관세음보살을 염하거나 정진을 위해 관세음보살을 염하는 것도 조심해야 하나요? 그냥 저도 모르게 관세음보살을 염하게 되는 경우가 있어서요.
This question from Ipjang Anso-mi was asking. So I don't have any special wish, but I find myself that I recite Guanxin Posa's name just for cultivations. Do I still need to be careful?
Good question. You recite one Yi's name as your regular practice, then that practice means that you should learn to concentrate, focus on the one Yin Bodhisattva's name only. That's all you do. And that's a very good thing to do. That's all you do, is you recite one Yin's name and you just focus on reciting the name. That's it. And when you do that, you are increasing, developing the ability to become single-minded in your work. Very similarly, when we teach you Chan, whether it's reciting one Yin's name, Buddha's name, or a mantra and so forth, all those are expedients to help you focus and become single-minded. That's all. Okay? And then that you develop the ability to do that. Once you're able to do that with one Yin's name, you switch to Amitabha Buddha's name, you'll be able to get there very easily. Or recite a mantra, same thing. All right? So that's why you won't get in trouble at all. Just focus and try to drop everything else. Just focus on the name. That's it. All right? Anyone else? And then when there's a need, then you're much a better position to call for help, and more chances that one Yin will hear of you because she's aware that you're calling her every day now. And you say, I'm going to ignore it for today. Just kidding. Okay? Anyone else? Very good. Yes, sir. In the back.
Master, can you explain the Pure Land Dharma door a little bit here? So the context is that a lady came to DTT today.
Yes.
And she's with us right now. She said that she studied some of the sutras, and she started to see the suffering in her daily life. She said that she sees that she has to eat every few hours. That's kind of a suffering. She also shared that she went to CTTB before, and she saw the people that are doing chant there. They were suffering. They were bearing a lot of pain. Some were crying. She also sees that as suffering. And when she's sitting for lotus, when her leg hurts, she sees that as suffering as well.
Yes.
She sees suffering after she read Sutra and study Buddhism, and she wants to get away with it. So can you explain the Pure Land Dharma door for her?
No, I would suggest she goes to Cathedral Basilica of St. Joseph. There's no suffering there. I went there Christmas Eve, and I saw happy people. My people, My groupies were suffering, and all the others are so happy. So it's safer to switch over. Okay? So the Buddha said that already. The Buddha says life is suffering. It says that whether you see it or not, whether you admit it or not, you're suffering. And therefore, how can you get away from suffering? You can't. So, if you think, oh, in that case, then there's so much suffering, I might as well kill myself. That's what a lot of young people do nowadays. If they do that, it's suffering to kill yourself. And after that, you go to the hell, which is even more suffering. So it's not a solution. When are we going to tell them that? When are they going to learn that? Killing yourself is even more suffering. It does not end your suffering, it will increase your suffering. Because after you die, you fall into the hungry ghost state where you so much worse off than you are right now while you're still alive. Okay, and after that, after 49 days, most likely you fall as well. Okay, so it's a lot more suffering. Okay, the reason I bring it up because I don't know why people like people in the world don't talk about it. And they no, my daughter is not gonna kill themselves, and then my son who is a quarterback in high school, he's doing great. But some of them will kill themselves. So, suffering is a way of life. I see the boys suffering there, making a lot of noises. What are you going to do? You're going to beat them up? Adds more suffering. And then add suffering to the parents. You see, it's on and on and on. Yes, sir.
Yes, Master. I believe part of her question is why should we endure additional suffering from the leg pains? She wants to put an end to suffering, so she didn't understand why we would do that.
I never thought about that. When you've been doing this like I have for a long time, you stop thinking about those issues. Now it's my disciples' issues, not mine anymore. Now I'm to Avatamsaka Sutra lectures. I contemplate the principles. Okay, and you have to bring it to me? That's my indirect answer. You can't answer her? Huh? Answer her.
Yeah, we were talking to her for a little while, but we sort of ran short. The conversation was running on. We had to get ready to leave. So
you brought the problem to me. How convenient. You drove together or separately?
We drove together.
You drove together, and from there over here, and you cannot get away that easily. From here to here is 45 minutes. What did you do?
We were reciting the Medicine Master mantra.
So you have this person here who's suffering. And you decide to recite the mantra. You didn't notice that. You didn't notice that. The boy who's screaming is suffering. So, okay? So you have a few options. Suppress him. Like, shut up. Or, like his brother did, his brother is very, very smart. He came over and distracted him. Everyone else was getting afflicted, but the brother simply came over and said, hey, boy, let's play. Yeah, very smart. Yeah, he solved the problem right away. Don't know where he learned it from. Probably Go Force. Even yoga. All I have to do is distract him, and sure enough, that's one way. Okay. What I did is I took his ghost and imprisoned it so that it doesn't pull his strings anymore. That's what happens, when they have unusual behavior. It's from his ghost. I want to tell you that so that you should learn how to do that too. Slap a few times. And say, hey, there's a time for you to do that to him, but not here, not now. Understand? Anyway, see how sweet and happy he is? Okay, where were we? Anyway, suffering. We're talking about suffering. Okay, so why must you endure more suffering? Okay, since Master Hsien Che conveniently passed the torch on to you, okay, how would you answer this lady? Why must you endure the leg pains? Why must you add suffering on top of suffering? Yes, 4.
Thank you, Master. From what I learned from you, you say that what would you like to do? Would you want to wait until the end of your life and you suffer tremendously to the point that you lost your mind, you can get pulled to where you don't even know where you're supposed to go? Or would you rather pay increment level right now? If you sit, you feel the pain, then you pay off your karmic debt that you have created many life. So that is one of the reasons why we sit, we endure the pain.
Okay.
And another.
But she's not like you. You believe anything I tell you.
Yes, that's right.
Next. Won't work for her. Next person. Yes, Professor Jane.
There's a Chinese saying, 吃苦了苦. That means you endure the pain to end the suffering.
But that's what she's asking. She says, why must I add it?
Another way is when you endure the pain, then you build up the strength. So if life comes, slap you in the face, you have the backbone to withstand that pain, that slap.
Okay, yes, 6.
I was thinking about my mom's example because
Yeah, that lady right there. Right there.
because it didn't make sense for her to.
Not at all. Yeah.
And then I think just telling her all the theory doesn't work. Yeah. So I think what happens is that whoever.
Explain the story. Last night, her mother, against her best wisdom, decided to sit for 2 hours in full lotus. Yes? Why did she do it again?
I don't know. Maybe you can ask her.
Yeah. Would you mind telling us why you did that? It's a lot of pain because she was screaming. Poor lady.
这个就是因为嘛，女儿跟我说，妈妈，这个住了以后对你的身体很好，你住1个半小时还不如住2个小时，就这样，所以坚持下来了。
Translation. She said, my daughter told me sitting longer it's good for your health. If you can sit for an hour and a half, you should push to 2 hours. That's even better for you.
Mm-hmm.
And she listened to her daughter.
Very good. How do you feel now, 24 hours later?
谢谢师父。现在感觉是比以前好，睡觉也确实比以前好。以前我睡觉我会磨牙，磨得很厉害，就睁开眼睛也在这磨，就像骑自行车刹车不住。但是现在最近做了完，好像磨得很少，几乎不磨。这点是有感觉，就是自己好像觉得睡觉要轻松一点。谢谢师父，谢谢师父。
Does he still grind his teeth too? He does? A little bit? Not as bad as before? Not sure? Okay. Anyway. Okay, translation.
So this lady said she, after sitting 2 hours, she felt so much better. And she slept better, and she had a problem of grinding her teeth. So sometimes she woke up still grinding the teeth, just like riding a bicycle. The brake is not strong enough. She said after the long sit, she felt lighter and she slept deeper.
Very good. Excellent. Congratulations. Four.
原来我跟女儿说，我说我都75岁了，马上75岁，干嘛又受这个折磨呢？痛得太厉害了，难受不了。女儿说：“妈妈，你坚持吧，坚持就会好。”
So she said, earlier when my daughter asked me to sit, I said, I'm already 75 years old. Why should I suffer this extra pain? And the daughter told her, you should try it. And when you try it, you will feel better. And she said, that's truly the case. She felt so much better.
Okay, very good. Very good.
She thanked Master for the guidance.
Oh, I had nothing to do with it. No. I do not torture old ladies. No.
不，现在感觉不是折磨，确实对自己有好处，还是。谢谢师父。
So she said now it's no longer a torture, and she felt it's truly, she can experience the benefits. Thank you.
Okay, we have 3 things here. First of all, JMT.
네, 평상 연불에 관한 질문이 있는데 평상시에는 아미타불을 연불 하고요. 질문은 이제 운전할 때만 이제 마스터께서 새벽 예불 하셨던 거기에서 약사열의 부분만 편집을 해서 차에 틀어놓고 운전을 하고 있거든요. 그래서 질문은 아미타불을 불렀다가 운전할 때만 약사열의 불로 바꿔 부르는 것이 잘하고 있는 건지 아니면 아예 통합을 해야 되는지 질문드립니다.
So, Master, I have a question about Buddha recitations. For every day, I recite Emitofuo's name, but when I drive, then I switch to Yashirulai. That's the part that the morning ceremony, I just edit it and listen to it during driving. Is that a good thing, or do I need to just recite one name?
No, it's a good thing. Don't change. You're doing the right thing. YouTube question.
Master, on Sunday, Lena came to the temple. She was referred to by Shenxi. Trin sent me this text today. It's from Lena, so I'll read it in Chinese and Jane can translate. She sat for an hour and a half in Venbo Shenxing's meditation class today, and this is how she felt afterwards. 我今天一天确实脑子里的想法慢了下来，杂念少了很多，效果很明显。
Okay, translation. This is Lena. She today in the morning sat at a Venerable Shenxing's online meditation class for 1 hour and a half. And she said afterwards she felt the thoughts in her mind slow down and she had much less false thoughts. And she felt good.
Very good. Is there a question over here? One.
Good evening, Master. I have a question from my own experience. How come I feel the opposite with Chun's mom? I cannot sleep at night when I cross my leg. And also, I normally feel a rush during the daytime, like you drink a lot of coffee inside of me. And I tend to have exaggerating reaction towards something. Lately.
Same reaction towards something.
No, exaggerating reaction. Like the reaction tend to be faster and stronger toward an event.
It's called intense, not exaggerated. Okay. So is there a problem? What's the problem again?
It feels like it's a problem for me because I expect to be more calm. And since Chun's mom said that she can sleep deeper at night, I have the opposite.
How old are you again? She's 75. You have to be 75 to get the same benefits. Isn't it obvious? God, unreasonable expectations. JC, answer her. Jumi, answer her. Someone, JC, answer her.
김혜순 선생님 코멘트입니다. 자선의 고에 대한 이해는 다음과 같습니다. 한자로 이열치열이라고 작은 괴로움을 더 큰 괴로움으로 처리한다고 했습니다. 이상입니다.
This is Hasun teacher's comment. She says, how to take care of this suffering is by, with the small suffering, we take care of the big suffering.
There's some wisdom there. Very good. So you take a small suffering called leg pains and to get rid of the bigger suffering. So for example, in Chin's mom's case, she chose to suffer the legs, okay, the leg pains, so that she can get rid of the teeth grinding pain and the illnesses pain. Yes? Okay, very good, excellent. Yes, JMT.
예전에 마스터께서 고통으로 고를 끝낸다고 말씀하셨고, 두 두 번째는 다리의 고통으로 정신적인 공격이나 고통을 상쇄시킨다라고 말씀하셨기 때문에 그렇게 코멘트 드립니다. 상쇄시킨다고요. 그러니까 감한다고. 다리가 고통스러우니까 내 정신적 고통을 네.
The rational.
Before Master told us you and suffering with suffering, and then by enduring leg pain, you're actually decreasing mental attack or mental suffering.
Very good. Anyone else? But yeah. And the lady over here. Answer this younger.
I don't know. I think it depends on. We need more information. Like, does she see some benefit of the meditations?
She's hurting right now. Don't talk to her. Just.
Do you see anybody?
Let me think. She said, "Let me think," but I can't think right now. I will stretch it until it's a full 2 hours. Go ahead, say something.
So for now, it's still vague for me. I think I see some benefit, but it's not obvious.
Like what?
Like somehow I don't need to sleep as much as before. I'm well known to be a very, very heavy sleeper. I used to sleep like 10 hours a day. But lately, with less sleep, but at the same time during the day, my head feel different. Like it's always on
steroids.
Caffeine.
Intense.
Yes.
That's what you use. Yeah.
I don't see the problem. What's the problem? It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit more intense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No.
Well, problem is, it seems like I can focus more, but it actually something that get me kind of cloudy during the day that kind of hinder my focus.
Something that makes your head clouded in the day. Explain that. The leg pains. What is it? Anyway, the reason she used to sleep 10 hours because of her depression. Because of her depression, she had to sleep more. With the leg pains, she's less depressed. That's why she doesn't need to sleep as much. As you continue to improve, because your level is improved since when you said you had to sleep 10 hours a night. That's before, right? Way before. Yes? And so now her level is higher, and that's why she's not as depressed. And that's why she doesn't need to sleep as much. And yet, with less sleep, she feels more intense. And it's a bad thing for her. Try to explain that. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. The intense also towards me. So that become my problem.
Okay.
Please help.
Someone has to pay the price. Yes, Jin, you were trying to say something?
Actually, I was going to go back to the lady at DTT's question, my mom. I was just going to comment that So my mom didn't start believe me or listen to me. She doesn't really listen to me. So it's not the case.
Because she knows you so well. And this girl here is not to be trusted.
So she wasn't willing to try it, but then because of I think because of her blessing, she got help from people. She got help from Lanfang's mom, and then Venerable Xianxin was helping her for sure. And then because of her blessing, she just gave it a try. And then after trying, she sees the benefit, and then she started doing it more and more. I think it's a process like that. You have to have some kind of initial kick to give it a try, like come from some kind of blessings or conditions. And then if you're willing to try, you see it for yourself.
Okay, very good. She made it to the next level. And that's why she said, I feel lighter. 4.
师父，谢谢师父。确实，这个打这个坐自己有深深的体会。原来女儿跟我说，我是不想打，很痛很痛。何必呢？70有岁的人还受这个折磨，这个没必要的。后来慢慢打了，就是我就打半个小时，打了半个小时以后，哎，感觉是确实好一点，所以我就每次坚持在家里打半个小时。但是还有一个感觉就是，如果是打的时候不放这个大悲咒也感觉不一样，就是打不下来。来了这里几次以后通过弦音师，昨天晚上弦音师一直在这里跟我说，坚持坚持坚持最后一下。女儿也在这里跟我拉的手，这个朋友们师傅们都在这里帮忙，确实有感觉。今天回去这个心情也特别好一点。谢谢谢谢。
Translation, she said that initially I didn't believe my daughter. I was like, why should I? I'm already over 70 years old, and why should I torture myself? But then I decided to give it a try. After sitting for 30 minutes, it feels a little bit better, and so I decided to keep it going. And she also mentioned playing the great compassion mantra recited by master or not, and that makes a difference. And so she came to the Gold Forest Temple and tried to meditate here. And she got an instruction from Venerable Xianxin. And specifically last night, and under everybody's encouragement, master's encouragement, the Sangha, and also other cultivators. And she specifically said, my daughter was holding my hand and was Venerable Xianxin cheer me up. So I had a breakthrough. So when I went home, and I feel great. Thank you very much.
Wait, you missed some part where she really she couldn't make it with the great compassion mantra, and she really needed to listen to it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Got some help from listening to it. Yes. Very good. Excellent. Good job. Yes. 2.
Master, is thinking also suffering?
Yes. Thinking is also suffering.
So false thought or no false thought is both suffering.
If you think with your thinking mind, you're creating thinking, you're creating mind karmas that will create suffering for you in the future. So that's why we say thinking is suffering. But if you have no thoughts, like when you're in samadhi, when you are enlightened, you don't think like normal people anymore, then you are creating blessings. Okay? So it's a process. You get there. You always get there. Okay. Yeah, we're running out of time. Quickly, in the back.
Okay, so I have more information because she also said that she wanted to experience the state of doing nothing. So I wanted to add that sitting in full lotus and bearing the pain is a very good expedient to get to a state where your thoughts are reduced.
Okay, it's true. Very good. The answer to the younger lady here, is that she also improved. That's why her skill level is such that she's able to sleep less. She's more intense, meaning that so the problem she has is that she should adapt. If she cannot sleep at night, then avoid meditating 2 or 3 hours beforehand. Okay, I have the same problem too. When I first started, I would meditate as regularly as we were told, 5 to 7 in the morning, 5 to 7 in the evening. Is it 2 hours yet? 2 hours and 1 minute. Exactly. And then she really pulled off the legs. She was fighting, and she said, young people, they are. Yeah. So next time we will not buy time for you. But next time we'll end early and walk away, and everyone walks away, that the 2 of you are the only ones left. So I was meditating between 5 and 7 as well in the evening, in the afternoon, as I was told, and at night I couldn't sleep. Because the chi is so strong that you can't sleep. That's a natural thing. So that's why I stopped meditating in the evening. I only meditate in the morning. Because instead of meditating 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, I would meditate 2 hours. See? So you adapt, that's all. Okay. As far as intensity goes, what did your husband do that's wrong that you had to scream at him? Can we talk about this? That's a natural thing too, because you have more energy now. You can focus. You can latch on. You can lock on so quickly. Okay, let's not do this anymore. You can lock on, you can zero in, you can lock on, you grab, okay, and that's your ability now. Okay, so that it's meaning you're able to concentrate much more intensely, much stronger, more sustained than before, which is a good thing. You just have to learn to use it. Because of that, you have to also realize that when you're angry, you're also more angry than before. You are more scary than before. And that comes with the territory. Just like I was getting stronger to that before, I could not do this, but last night I did this and I did not intend to, excuse me. Yeah, I broke it because I didn't realize how strong I could be. You see, same thing, you learn, that's all. And I promise I'll never do this again. You see, we all make mistakes. So that's how we learn. We learn because we overdo it, and then we say, oh, okay, I better not, because it's not good for me to be this way. Okay? And that's when you ask. I'm like this. How can I avoid it? And so forth. Yes? Are you still in full lotus? Are you?
Yeah, I put it back.
These are really mercenaries. They only do it because they must. Young people nowadays. Yes, one.
So samadhi level is not about helping you to be more calm. It's more about building good energy inside of you. And there's another job for you to do is that you have to learn how to adjust to it.
How do you think you became stronger? Do you eat more? Do you gain any weight?
I lost weight.
Okay, so it's not from the food. Do you drink? Do you pick up drinking?
I drink water and boba tea.
That's not drinking. What about you young people? We don't know what they do. So you didn't do anything more, right? You lost weight, you eat less, and yet you have more energy. How? How is that possible?
So you're stronger.
How are you stronger? You have bigger muscles?
Physically and mentally.
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you, all of you, something. Okay? This is something that's not explained to you before. Okay? At a high level of samadhi, like her high level of samadhi, this is what happens to her. She thinks less. Isn't that right? You don't have as much false thinking during the days as before. Yes? I want to hear the sound. Don't just nod your head. No one, they can't see you.
Yes.
Only I can see you.
Yes, Master.
Okay, so she thinks less. She has less false thinking during the day. How do I know that? I just know it. No, I'm kidding. When you go to a higher level, you think less. Even less. Even less. How do you think we get to zero thinking? By thinking less and less and less as we improve. That's what happens. So far, so good. So you think less. Because you think less, you don't realize that by thinking less, you're conserving more energy. This is what happens. At work, you keep on thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, and fixing your problem, fixing this problem and that problem. And that's what happens. You're draining yourself constantly. So when the big problem comes, what happens to you? You have no energy left. You can't poke through. You can't break. You can't drill through it. You cannot pierce through the fog. That's what happens to ordinary people. They keep on thinking and thinking and thinking, okay? And they don't realize that thinking like that unnecessarily is a drain of your mental energy. You deplete it. That's why when you must think of the bigger issues, solve a bigger problem, you can't. You cannot break through. You cannot pierce through the fog. That's how you have more energy. You're wasting less energy, mental energy, so that because you're not thinking on unimportant things anymore, unimportant things don't bother you anymore, except for something that's really important to you. That's when you blow up. Only on important things. What are you complaining about? If you're not important, she will not blow up at you. Like my logic? I sell anything. Would you like anyone who would like to buy a watch? Got it? People are so unreasonable. I made her love him more, and he said, well, but that's my problem. All right? You should worry when she stops yelling at you. That's when you worry. Okay. So there is a lesson here. Yes, 7.
Dạ, mô Phật, con xin góp một cái kinh nghiệm nhỏ là khi cái cô gái trẻ đó mà tiếp tục tu để có một cái định lực cao hơn nữa thì tự nhiên cô sẽ đầm lại, cái tánh cô sẽ đầm lại kiên nhẫn hơn và bao dung hơn. Thí dụ như một người học võ mà mới biết võ thì thường múa may quay cuồng và phô trương. Nhưng mà khi người ta giỏi rồi á, tự nhiên người ta nhịn nhịn nhiều hơn là người ta gây chiến. A Di Đà Phật.
Emitofuo Master, I would like to add one more experience so that the young lady can understand and know better. Is that so as you continue cultivate, your samadhi power increase, so your nature would become more endurance, you become more patient and more embracing toward other people. Just like the people who first learn about martial arts, they like to show off. They like to dance around to show that there's better. But once they become good, become better than others, they start to become more tolerant and more enduring and more embracing toward other people.
Very good. There's more, but I'm not going to talk about it. The list is too long. We don't have enough time. Can I talk to her directly? Is that okay for me to address you directly? How old are you? Give her a microphone. No, that one, not you. How old are you? Okay, so today, how do you feel like? What number do you feel like today? No, she doesn't want to speak. Okay, and then I will speak to the rest of you. We cannot help everyone. It's not meant for everyone. That's our limitations. If they want to feel they want to feel comfortable and they want to feel blissful, don't sit in full lotus. Sit in a chair. That will help them feel better. I will need you to understand it. We are beyond the phase where we force people to endure suffering. It's no longer the case. If they want to learn, we teach them. They don't want to learn, give them a chair. It's not for everyone. We cannot help everyone. Meditation has many different kinds of niches, different segments. The segment I chose to work with are the elite. And what is the price of membership? Is that they need to tell me what their problem is. If I don't know what your problem is, I cannot help you. Because meditation, I teach meditation in order to help you solve your problems. If you don't know their problems, you can't help them. That's why If they tell you, I is suffering, everything is suffering, why you have to add suffering on top of suffering? Because you don't know the answer to that. To me, it tells me you don't know what the problem is. So instead of explaining because you live longer, the lady there, because she spent 2 hours of her life last night torturing herself, she extended her life. She will live a little bit longer. Because she improved. Every time you improve, you live a little bit longer. Live a little bit longer, live a little bit longer. You know that? It shows because many of you are living longer because you look younger. Doesn't it show? What does look younger mean? It's because you have more energy. It's not because of plastic surgery. The faster you improve, the higher you improve, the longer you live, and the younger you look. It's natural. It happens to every one of you. So that's why if you want to teach meditation, all of you, whether you're a monk or a lay person, you say, I want to help my sister learn meditation. The first question is, why? He says, well, I want to feel good. Then, have a drink. Let's go have a drink. You have to know what is it they want, what their needs are. You can't simply tell them, cross your legs and do the pain. What kind of meditation teacher is that? We're not in China. We're not in the older times where the Chinese are like sheeps. They go to the Chan Ho and they say, okay, I'm supposed to cross my legs, supposed to do what I'm told. It's not the case here in the United States. You can't teach meditation like that anymore. When the Vietnamese come to our temple and they say, I want to feel good, no, let them feel good. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't kick them out. They'll feel better here than somewhere else. You understand? You have to be flexible. And then one day they feel good, and one day they said, everyone else said, I feel better. I feel better. I'm more intense. My husband is more scared of me. Now he listens more to me and so forth. Oh, I want that too. I want that too. Then you teach them. Until then, shut up. We can't help them. If we don't know what their needs are, we can't help them. You cannot teach people. You cannot run people. You cannot supervise people unless you know what their needs are. They're not going to go to bat for you. They're not going to work hard for you. You better know. That's why you go take them out to lunch and talk to them. Say, hey, how's your family? How's your daughter? And you say, oh, he needs to buy a new car for his wife. Now we're talking. How else are you going to motivate them? You don't know what their needs are. How else are you going to motivate her to cross her legs if you don't know what her needs are? Until they tell you, you shut up. You wait. You shoot the breeze. You go eat. You go drink. We have a good time. You understand? You build relationships so that you understand what their needs are. Once you understand their needs are, and you take care of their needs, they will take care of your needs. That's called leadership. A leader takes care of her people. When I mean taking care of people is that address the needs of your people. That's how you rise to the ranks, by delivering through your employees' performance. If you want to be CEO, then you have to have a vision on top of it and rally them. So unless you come to me which says, I have this student here, and she has this problem, I don't know how to fix it, then I accept it. But you cannot ambush me like this. Bring in someone you don't even know what the problem is, what her motives are, where she comes from. Why do you want to even recommend her the Pure Land Dharma door? She probably laugh in your face. You say, no, that's not what I need. Do all of you understand? This is the same thing for you, not for him. I'm telling you, when you want to help your sister, your brother, someone, your neighbor or something, you better spend time talking to them first. The reason I succeeded with you because I weeded out all the people whose needs I didn't want to address. I have zero interest in such people. I have zero interest in people who come to my temple and sit and be comfortable for hours after hours. I have no interest in such people. Too slow for me. My life's too short. I don't have a lot of time left. I'd rather be in the Bahamas. I don't care what you say. I'm very clear in my goals. My needs are very clear to me. You understand? You better understand people's needs. This is fundamental. You cannot help people until you understand their needs. Don't you ever dare ambush me like this. You bring people to me, you better tell me what is the problem. What is that she wants? You cannot tell me, don't bring people to me. Yes, 2. Now she's willing to talk.
Master, please don't blame him. Are you angry?
Oh, I beat on people all the time, don't worry.
Because I don't want to put suffer on him or anyone. Maybe he missed some point what I said today.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I say why we cultivate. The reason is we want to leave suffer. The Buddha find a way to leave suffer because he sees that all things impermanence that lead to the suffer. Everything in this world is suffer because of impermanent. Even the happiness, we happy, but we cannot maintain the same level.
Okay, very
Right?
good. Okay.
And my point is, when I go to the temple and I sit next to the people who meditate, and they try to sit 1 hour, and I say, why they're crying? And they don't want to take off the legs. Some even hit their legs. So I say, oh, that's so painful. We as a human being or living being already suffer because of impermanence. I want to leave suffer. I don't want to put more suffer. We all don't want suffer.
Okay, you're
So
right.
what
Absolutely.
my point is, we learn a lot in the Sutra. But why the Buddha wake up? The Buddha wake up, see that all things impermanent that lead to suffer. He point out the way to walk. But I think we take it for granted. We didn't really, many of us didn't really take the action, but we let the world follow us. We follow the word, but the words, no matter it's a sutra, it doesn't have any power. The human being create the words. Before, people don't even speak, no language at all. How can we rely on words? For example, the spoon. In Chinese, we call shigang, right? And in Vietnam, what they say, in English, we call spoon, but all the same thing. So when we read the sutra, I just ask myself, do we rely on the word? Why the Buddha didn't write anything? All the sutra, the disciple who wrote it, what he learned from the Buddha.
Very good. Okay, thank you for your words of
And
wisdom.
also the Buddha, as what I think, I didn't mean I did respect master. I respect because you're sincere. What you think, you agree, you say, that's the reason I coming. Before we sincere to others, we have to sincere to ourselves. That's the way to respect others. So
Very
I
good.
hope the
Thank you.
master don't misunderstand. And I'm sorry for the person who have been, maybe he don't feel, maybe he feels suffer now. I'm sorry. And that's my mistake. I didn't say anything because I think all this we don't think about who on top. We just wake up what we are doing. Are we walk the way to leave suffer? Or we want more suffer? Whenever we expect something, we already suffer.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Those are the words of the Buddha. You are correct in
Oh
quoting
no,
them.
I'm not Buddha, I'm still learning.
So basically, I'm sorry I have to cut you off. Okay, okay, very good. I want you to understand as well that she has her opinions, okay, and she trusts her opinions, and you have to respect that. Don't try to convince her. She says, this is my understanding of Buddha's teaching. I say, yes, yes, yes. You have to learn how to teach properly. We're going to have a lot more people from different persuasion, different levels of understanding, different needs. You have to understand. You have to be more agile. Okay? And this is your lesson. All of you. Okay, for example, you cannot force your husband to come to the temple to listen. You can't. You don't want to do that. Absolutely not. Okay? Because again, when someone comes to the temple, you better understand, all of you should understand what are their needs, what they're looking for. Is it something we can help or not? We can't help. We should not encourage them to come to the temple. We should encourage them to do what they feel is important to them. That's how you help, because you do not want to waste their time. So you have to wake up. You have to when you talk to people, you have to gauge and see, are they willing to learn from me? Are they looking to learn from me? Or they know everything already? Okay? then let it be. Let them be. Unless they have a need to learn from you, there's no point in you opening your mouth. No point in you asking questions. You understand? Same thing. It's better for you to spend time to shoot the breeze and talk, Buddhism or principle of Buddhism, whatever. But don't bring up, Chan or bring up, Mahayana principles and so forth. It's not what they're looking for. Okay? This is what you have to learn. Okay? And I'm not doing a good job preparing you for it because I chose to filter them out very quickly. But you don't have the luxury anymore. Now you're supposed to talk to everyone because that's how you're going to learn for your generation. I don't need to teach everyone anymore. I'm not meant to teach everyone. I don't have time to teach everyone. But you have the time. I don't. And so learn. Okay? And sometimes, by not wasting their time is how you teach them. Because everyone else is trying to teach them. We're not. We're not interested in teaching. I can't teach you. There are plenty of people I can't teach. What bugs me more than anything else is everyone is trying to teach me. Everyone at my master's temples. Everyone is trying to teach me. They're scared of me. They say, this guy has potential, this guy has credentials and so forth. Let me teach him and draw him in. And when I opened the mouth, I found them to be so stupid. Why? Because they didn't try to understand my needs. What was I after? They're trying to impress me with their knowledge. This is how I understand about Mahayana, understand about this Dharma, I understand about Chan. Everyone is trying to do that. And they didn't know what I was looking for. So that's why they wasted my time. I said, I have no interest in such people, no respect for such people. All of them were trying to impress, trying to teach me. And when you want to teach people, let me remind you, you better learn to ask and find out what they're looking for. You don't know what they're looking for? Shut up. None of your business. Okay? Every one of us have our own knowledge, have our own beliefs, have our own understanding. It's perfectly okay. It's a big world. It's still Buddhism. But it's not our clientele. That's all. Okay? It's not for everyone, I'm telling you. And don't try to convert everyone. Don't try to convert your husband. Have fun. Don't force people. Don't bring your children to the temple because you learn something. And I remember like Xianxin, she said something interesting. She says her ex-husband, he grew up in the temple, right? He would come to the temple on the weekend, and now as he's grown up, because his parents would come to the temple, now he's grown up, so he has nothing to do with the temple. That's what you don't want. Whatever you bring it to the temple and leave an unpleasant aftertaste, that's no good. It doesn't help. The same thing. You bring people, make her come here for 2 hours, 3 hours, and make her listen to this thing, and we don't even know what she wants, what she's looking for. It's not a good use of her time. Okay? You have to be more respectful of people's time and my time, eventually. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for listening. Two.
Masters, I'm sorry. That's why the reason I don't want to say it, because when we say the words, the people, our mind interpreted the wrong way, because I think we have to discriminate. That's the reason I don't want to say it, because it might bring thought that I don't respect Master, I didn't mean it. I respect. That's why I coming to listen, and is still learning a lot.
Yeah, I'm not saying you disrespectful at all. It's not. I didn't mean that.
Forgive me
But it's not what you think. Let me put it bluntly for you. Okay. You don't understand Buddhism at all. It's not what the Buddha taught. Your understanding is you're misinterpreting the Buddhist scriptures, and no teacher had dared tell you so. Allow me to be the first one to tell you, because I respect your time for coming. Okay, I'm apologize for offending you right now directly. You don't understand the scriptures at all. What you quoted when you quoted the sutras and so forth, you quoted wrong, out of context. It's not why it was taught that way at all. And that's the danger of reading the sutras by yourself, thinking you understand. What I learned, the way we learn, is that we learn from a person who has wisdom, who read the sutra and they said, this is what it means. That's how I learned. You decided to read the sutra by yourself and decided that's what you're supposed to understand. No, ma'am. Someone who has real wisdom, who can look at the words of the sutra and say, this is the proper interpretation of something called the proper Dharma. Clearly, because of the way you talk to me, you haven't such a teacher yet. You haven't met such a teacher yet. Okay? Someone who looks you in the eyes and says, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you don't understand the words of the sutras at all. And it's not meant to offend you. It's not meant to ridicule you. But someone has to tell you that. Do not assume that you can understand the words of the sutras merely by reading it and interpreting it yourself. Why not? Because your reasoning is based in your thinking mind. Your thinking mind is false. It cannot possibly understand the true teaching. That's why when you want to learn the true teaching, you learn from someone who has a true mind, not a false mind like yours right now. Why is it false? You're afraid of pain. That's why it's false. I'm not afraid of pain. He's not afraid of pain. She's not afraid of pain. She's not afraid of pain. She's afraid of pain. So who do you believe? Her or her? You understand? And that's a problem that people have. The book scholars have, the professors have. They think they understand the words, but what they don't realize is that they don't understand because they're afraid. They're still afraid. Because they're still greedy. If you're still greedy, You're still hungry, you're still greedy for food, you're still angry, then you have no wisdom. How can you possibly understand the deepest level of teaching in the world by the Buddha? You can't. That's why to start out by saying, I read it, I understand, and I think this is, I know, I can quote you the sutra, the Buddha said so in this sutra, Buddha said so in the other sutra, okay? That doesn't mean you understand. You're only quoting, you're pleasurizing, you're not understanding. Only the people who understand are the one who says, like my teacher, Master YongHua, okay, he says, Avatamsaka Sutra. When he says so and so, this is what it means to you, not to anyone else. The teaching, the understanding, then when the teacher, a wise teacher teaches you, is for you, not for the next person, folks. That's Buddhist teaching. When are you going to wake up to that? Buddhist teaching, when I talk to you, is different for each and every one of you. For someone is, I hope my wife stops yelling at me. And until that happens, he's not going to listen. You understand? Huh? That's Buddhist teaching. So for me to tell, you become enlightened. So all you have to do is endure more leg pains and so forth. What are you talking about? I love my wife. That comes first. I'm willing to sacrifice my life for my wife. Who cares about enlightenment? So how does the Buddhist teaching help? Absolutely useless. See? Sutras are meant to be that way. Sutras are not meant to say, "Oh, this is suffering. Oh, this is impermanence." No, ma'am. There's no impermanence, you ask me. There's no suffering, you ask me. What leg pain are you talking about? I have 0 leg pains. So how does the Buddha teaching apply to me? It doesn't. Your teaching doesn't apply to me. What impermanence? I know permanence. There's no such a thing as impermanence. You understand it's only words. You don't know where people are. How can you talk to me about impermanence? If you understand people at my level, it's like insulting me. Life is impermanence. You say, what? Is it suffering? What suffering? I'm so happy. I'm teaching him to be happier when his wife yells at him. And it worked. Now he says, honey, yell me some more, please. And then she says, oh, he must love me so much. $10 folks. Don't you have anything else better to do? Thank you, everyone. And the lady forced her husband to sit for 2.5 hours. She's crazy. I know. It's too much.